Llandrillo-yn-Rhos, also known as Rhos-on-Sea, is a pleasant, sunny seaside resort situated on the North Wales coast, nestling between Llandudno and Colwyn Bay. It is a popular, sought-after location, particularly attractive to the retired denizens of Cheshire and the northwest of England. The village centre presents an eclectic array of charming shops and cafes, serving both residents and the visitors who flock to the area during the holiday season. I asked local historian Dennis Roberts to explain the origins of Llandrillo-yn-Rhos.
Well, Llan is easy. Llan means an enclosure, and that word Llan became a holy enclosure as time went on. Drillo comes from the word Trillo, and it's a personal name, and it's believed to be the name of a holy man who established the church, a church here, sometime in the 5th or 6th century. The Rhos side, well, that is a much larger area than that's covered by the present Rhos. It refers to a hundred, a cantref, which was a political division in the early Middle Ages. Rhos, a large area from the shore right up to the Denbighshire moors. So Llandrillo-yn-Rhos is the church of Trillo in the cantref or the hundred of Rhos.
Moving from St Trillo's Chapel, the smallest church in Wales, seating only 6 worshippers, to Llandrillo Parish Church, which was once the centre of a vast parish that extended to Llansanfraid Blanconwy, Llanellion, Llysfaen, Llanrhost and Colwyn, now just serving the parish of Rhos. Originally built during the 13th century as a private chapel for Ednafyd Fachyn, seneschal to Llywelyn the Great. Some 300 years later, the building was enlarged, the rebuilding works undertaken by Hugh Conway. During the 17th century, the coastline was subject to attacks by pirates. The square turret in the southwest corner of the tower, known locally as the Rector's Chair, was used as a lookout and signalling post, as part of an early warning system.
This was a very important area indeed. We had your Bryn Dinarth, Bryn Erin, that there was a settlement there, which was lived in by warlords in the early Middle Ages. Near Bryn Erin, you have the house Bryn Erin, which was said to be the home in the early days of a man called Ednafyd Fachyn, who was a very powerful man, and he was like a prime minister, Llywelyn the Great. The princes, the powerful men of the time, granted over the years various rights and lands to the monks of Aberconwy. It was a ticket to heaven, so to speak, and so I think Llywelyn the Great gave the right to fish at this point. It was the end of the 12th century, early part of the 13th century. There might have been a fishing weir there before, but the monks continued to use it until the 16th century, when it was taken out of their hands thanks to the dissolution of the monasteries by Henry VIII. The actual word Rhos-fynach means, the Rhos of the monks.
For many centuries, Llandrillo remained a remote rural area until the Victorian era, when the health benefits of sea air and bathing became highly fashionable.
It wasn't until around 1900 that what we call Rhos-on-Sea was developed, with the purchasing of the local estate by a chap called William Horton, and he developed Rhos as it is today, that area where the shops are on the beach. And it was a rapid development. Rhos was the last of the little resorts to develop at the beginning of the 20th century. And one reason why it developed so rapidly was that the land was suitable. You had an area of fairly level land, a large area because it wasn't interrupted by the railway. Colwyn Bay you have the railway going right along the shore, same in Old Colwyn. That prevents development northwards. Here, there's a large area between the railway and the shore, because the railway has to swing away towards the Mochtra Gap. So here was an opportunity for nice straight streets on fairly level land, which was suitable for the old dears who came here and to be pushed around in wheelchairs. It was ideal.
I hope you've enjoyed this glimpse into the fascinating history of Llandrillo-yn-Rhos, and that you'll have the opportunity to experience its rich heritage for yourself very soon.
The Maddox story was written down in the 16th century, and in the 19th century there was a resurrection in interest in such stories, and a well-known poet at the time, Ceiriog, he wrote a 3-verse poem on Maddox, and which was part of this interest, because the interest was huge in America. You know, maybe they wanted to have this Celtic rather than this Spanish-Portuguese connection. And the poem, everybody knows the first few lines. Welen cychwyn dair ar ddeg o longau bach ar fore teg. Wele Maddox ddewr ei fron yn gapten ar y llynges hon. Since there we see 13 ships sailing away from this area, captained by the brave Maddox. And a year later, he arrives in America, well before Columbus, just a little bit after the Vikings.